Hi, I'm Lena Hegemann from Aalto University, presenting our study on how designers choose colors in practice. In this presentation, you are going to learn about the 3 key decisions that must match in a well-colored design. We will talk about our findings on how designers explore color palettes. The palette example shown here is that of Aalto University, which I'm also using for these slides. The purpose of the colors. Our palette example was designed to support communication that is intuitive, clear, confident, bold, inclusive, and progressive. This also matches the intention of this presentation. And the application of colors in prototypes, or ultimately, the final design. Here are some examples of using our palette. Colors have great influence on how people perceive a visual design, not only in terms of harmony. To illustrate just a few, both of these designs have well-chosen colors, but communicate different messages. The green and grey one emphasizes the eco-friendly side of these transportation modes, and the black and orange one highlights the urban surroundings. But they also guide attention differently. The left one focuses on the images, while the right one emphasizes the text labels. Colors also influence affordances, like on the Kai website, which strongly relies on the color blue to indicate links. Accessibility is another factor that colors make or break. Clearly, colors impact users of devices and software. With so many factors influenced by colors, we were wondering, how do designers approach color choice in their projects? There is a considerable body of literature on color theory and color psychology. While these do inform guidelines and the design of tools that implement them, less is known about designers' actual practices around color choice. However, an in-depth understanding of designers' experiences is needed to develop highly usable creativity support tools. A few prior studies indicate that color choice is a complicated process. The authors of Playful Palette and Color Portraits studied how designers interact with the material color and found that expressive interfaces for color manipulation positively impact the coloring process. However, the interaction with color itself is likely only part of the decision process. Another study investigated designers' approaches to choosing one color in a controlled setting, shedding light on specific influences on color choice, such as the role of semantics in images and achieving coherence. What these studies do not fully answer is what are designers' objectives and strategies for choosing colors in their real design projects? What are the challenges? And how does the color choice tie in with other facets of the process? To answer these questions, we conducted semi-structured interviews with 12 designers, representing a range of visual design domains and experience levels. We aimed to learn about general attitudes about color design, as well as concrete practice. Hence, during recruitment, we asked participants to bring a recent design that needed coloring and present it during the interviews. The 1 to 2 hour interviews covered a warm-up with a welcome to the study and a self-introduction of the interviewee. General discussion about prior experience with coloring and what makes a good color choice. The interviewer's project presentation and an in-depth discussion about its creation process, tool use, and the potential of AI for color design. Cool down and closing, which covered a reflection of the interviewee's attitudes towards specific activities during color design. The analysis involved thematic analysis of the transcripts and affinity diagramming. We searched for unifying themes that tell us what decision spaces tie together the goals and processes in color design. This led to the 3P framework, which conceptualizes the process of color design as exploring and aligning 3 interconnected decision spaces. Nearly all interviewees stressed that the colors should support a purpose. This could be anything from underlying the best properties of the design to its functions. We heard examples such as communicating a message or mood, guiding users, highlighting key elements, or distinguishing a brand. The purpose was usually expressed verbally, often summarized with keywords such as freshness, premium, or calm. The following 2 spaces are more visual. By palette, we refer to the set of colors used in the design, whether or not the designer chose to visualize them separately. These can be simple colored shapes and descriptions, as well as sample materials and their collages in mood board. Although not present in every project, we found that palette visualizations are common and serve the function of exploring, discussing, or documenting color independently from the form and concept of the design at various stages in the design process. This strategic separation allows ideating colors even if there is not yet a prototype, or if applied colors would unintentionally impact concept design. We heard about strategies to bridge from the current understanding of the purpose to color palettes. Firstly, after summarizing the purpose in keywords, some refer to widely accepted connotations of colors, such as blue for trustworthy, yellow for happy, or gray for serious. Secondly, some search for metaphors connecting the purpose to colors. For instance, gold digging as a metaphor for expressing something rare and expensive, with the colors black, white, and gold. Thirdly, mood boards and inspirational images were frequently mentioned as starting point for the color palette. Finally, many designers refer to online search and palette generation tools to expose themselves to palette ideas. From left to right, these examples allow for a systematic search in a color wheel or from existing palettes, or clicking through a range of diverse palettes. Note that these tools are separate from the tools used to create the design, leading to considerable overhead for switching. Participants experimented with the colors in prototypes to answer the question of how to apply the colors from the palette. Since the proportions, positions, and functions of the colored design elements differ from the simple palette shapes, the overall impression can change. Thus, the color placement requires testing and iteration. Examples we've seen ranged from color experiments, colored mock-ups, and 3D models to the colorized final design. We saw examples of experimentation with prototypes both early on and later in the color design process. In the early stages, some participants reported experimenting freely and suspending logical thinking, even trying combinations they knew would not work. Early color experiments, like those shown here, serve the designer's learning. Unlike palette visualizations, they mimic the realistic layout, including placeholder texts, shapes, icons, and backgrounds. Later on, the need for experimentation may arise again when prototype fidelity grows and the colors don't look as expected. Participant 12 reported, "When we start applying the colors and the materials, the colors break quite often." Closing the loop back to purpose, surprisingly, we found that the purpose does not just provide context for the creation of palettes. Instead, it co-evolves. We found that designers actively explore alternative interpretations of the purpose. Here we see 4 iterations from the same project, where the message changed in response to earlier color experiments. The change of keywords from eco and down to earth via calm and muted and lively and chaotic to mathematical and retro reflects this. Our findings call for design tools that integrate the three decision spaces for seamless exploration and achieving alignment more easily. However, current tools fragment the spaces. Many tools target one space at a time. The best existing tools combine two spaces. For instance, the Style and Color Builder facilitate the joint exploration of palette and prototype by visualizing recolored prototypes immediately. MetaMap and Semantic Collage integrate purpose and palette through exploration of semantics and metaphors with visuals. Given this, it is not surprising that the two most frequently requested features for AI in our interviews targeted the missing connections in the existing tool space. Firstly, AI that considers designers' prototypes and color purpose when it generates palettes and ideally applies them directly. Secondly, AI that helps to evaluate the alignment of the three spaces. We hope that future work can address these gaps. In addition, future work could extend our findings to color design in other cultures. Our study was conducted with designers based in Europe. Given that color experience and design practice differ between cultures, this might limit the applicability of our findings to other contexts. Future work could also explore nuanced differences between designers of different disciplines and experience levels, which will require a larger sample and adjusted methods accordingly. In conclusion, we contributed the first in-depth findings on how designers approach colors in the context of realistic design projects. And we conceptualized the process in the 3P framework and applied it to explain designers' objectives and strategies when choosing colors. For more details and findings on challenges such as fixation and color evaluation, please refer to the paper.